Hey everyone, welcome back to the Slept On podcast. Today I'm speaking to a band we've actually mentioned before, having worked with previous guest Hannah Maisie on their track Hell No in Love, which was released earlier this month. So, hello to Barstaff. How are you guys doing?
Hello. Hello. All good, thank you. You okay?
Yeah, good, thanks. To start things off, I thought we'd do a cheesy sort of intro where you all introduce yourselves, say what you do in the band, and then tell me what your go-to order is at the bar.
Um, okay, so I'm Ben. I'm the front man, and my go-to drink would be a Aperol Spritz.
Love it.
Hello, I'm Kira. I play bass guitar and I like anything fruity. I like a fruity beer. And I like Timmermans, and I'm gonna get a bit of slack for this, but the best flavour of Timmermans comes in a little bottle. Is raspberry and black pepper, I think, and it's absolutely delicious. Even though it sounds disgusting.
That actually does sound disgusting. I can't lie.
Hello, my name is Jack, and I am the band taxi driver. But in my spare time, I also play the drums in the band. And controversially or uncontroversially, my pint at the bar that I'd get is a Murphy's because it's better than Guinness. And you're all lying to yourself if you think otherwise.
The day after Paddy's Day. I don't get that at all, I have to say. The winner so far is Aperol Spritz, but we'll see.
Hello. I always struggle introducing myself. I'm like, Josh, I'm a Byram. All these lot call me Byram, so let's go with that. I'm the one of the guitarists alongside Ben. And my go-to drink is Disaronno's. No, not Amaretto Sour. I was thinking Disaronno
Ooh.
is Disaronno in it. Amaretto Sour. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Honestly, I've worked in quite a few bars over the years, whenever anyone would order that, I'd be like, oh, no, because it just takes forever.
Yeah, it's so good.
But yeah, it is nice to be fair. So you're from Wigan. You formed in 2022. How did you all meet, and what inspired you to make music together?
We've all got kind of like different stories. Like me and Jack have known each other since like nursery, I think.
Yeah.
Like we went to school together. Me and Kira met in a bar when we were like 17, 18, which is where the name comes from. And then me and Byron met when we were like 17, 18 as well through ex-girlfriends. So that's
Oh,
another story within itself. And then you two, I don't know if you
The
wanna.
best story of all is me and Jack are twins. We were born on the same day in the same hospital, and our mums like knew each other because like years later we were both in youth orchestra. My mum shouted me over and she was like, "Do you remember who this is?" Like pointing at Jack. I was like, "No," and she was like, "You were born next to each other." I thought, "How would I remember that,
as
Marcia?"
if you'd remember him, like, oh yeah, he was dead loud, that one. Okay, so your vibe is a mix of indie and pop. So what three artists would you say are your biggest musical influences?
That's tough to answer. I think as like recently, like a lot of our influence on our new stuff is like artists like Rachel Chinariri, Bakar, um,
Baker
Hack
definitely.
Baker, Easy Life, artists like that. I know that's more than three. Very long-winded
Great.
way to like explain, but yeah, I'd say those.
Okay, fab. So your debut EP, Show Don't Tell, came out in 2023, featuring tracks such as Out of Your League and A Room with No View. How do you think your sound I can't speak. How do you think your sound has changed since then? And do you think that that's reflected in like the artist that you're listening to now as like compared to then?
100%. I think when we started, we were writing indie songs basically. We could sit and write indie songs all day long, and we were finding it really easy to write just like catchy, so like Out Your League's just so catchy. There's a reason why it's our like most listened to song on Spotify. I feel like before we were just writing songs, whereas now I feel like we're writing ourselves into the songs.
I think as well, like a, a big thing that's changed over the past couple of years is kind of like our knowledge with like production and how important production is when it comes to coming across in a specific way. It's like we've like spent a lot of time around different producers and produced ourselves and kind of like really studied it as a craft. We know now like what routes to go down for like specific sounds and influences, which has completely changed like, you know, how we approach tracks and how tracks end up sounding.
Mhm. I think it can be quite easy for bands to find something that works for them and be like, okay, we're just going to do this now forever. Whereas I noticed that, you know, as you were saying, Izzy was like a bit more indie, and then, you know, Hell No in Love has a different sort of vibe. Is that something that you want to do moving forward as a band?
Yeah, I think like when we first started the band, like one thing we all kind of like agreed on was if we write a track, we're not gonna worry about like what box it fits in, what genre it fits in. Like if the song's like a good song, it's a good song. You know, we're not gonna kind of like restrict ourselves in that sense. Um, and I think like because early on, as Kira's saying, like we found it so easy to kind of write in a certain way. Um, it doesn't it stops being fun if it's not a challenge. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And like if it is really easy to write in a specific way, it just gets boring. So I think that kind of like as you grow and as you get better as an artist, I think you also just like grow and change in terms of how you sound. Uh,
Mm.
and I think that's kind of like the beauty of it. And we're just gonna like keep growing and keep changing, and we definitely don't want to be seen as like a one trick pony or an artist that just, you know, does the same thing like year in year out. We definitely don't want that.
Yeah. And do you find that you all tend to agree on the direction you're going in? Or is there ever any friction as to that?
I think like we definitely have we all have like our own preferences and stuff, and there's definitely been times where we've probably like disagreed on specific like directions with tracks, but we're quite. I feel like we're very like democratic. I think that's kind of like been the way that we've approached like everything in the band, to be honest.
Okay, and speaking of your track Izzy that I just mentioned, I recently had on Glossy Boy, and they said that their song Julia was about both everyone and no one. So, Barstaff, I ask you, who is Izzy?
This is actually a person. Unlike Julia, Izzy is a person.
Izzy is a person. Izzy's my best friend.
Oh,
Yeah, and so the song's basically about us both moving to London at the same time. And bearing in mind, me and Izzy, we I think we met when we were like 16 or 17, and then since then we'd never lived in the same place. Like I've been in Wigan the whole time. She's lived in Australia. She's been traveling in
oh,
Thailand. She was in
wow.
France for a bit. Then we found ourselves both moving to London at the same time. Um, and I had like a job in publishing, which was like a dream job. And like 4 or 5 months down the line, all the funding got pulled, and I was made redundant, and I had to leave London. But most importantly, like I had to leave Izzy, and the song's about like that feeling where we were both going to be in the same place, and we'd had like a glimpse of like what our life could be like being best friends in the same city, and like the person who I love the most, and then all of that future that I thought we were going to have just being like pulled from underneath me. But also it's kind of about feeling happy that you're going home and happy that I could like be with the boys again. But I'm in London all the time. Nothing,
Yeah,
nothing really changed. I'll be honest.
Yeah. So are you like the songwriter then? Would you say that that tends to be your role, or is it something that you all take
No,
part in?
I definitely wouldn't say it's my role. It's like the perfect balance, really, when it comes to songwriting. But we tend to do everything together.
Can you tell me more about the project you're working on right now?
No.
Um, yeah, so we've had I feel like since the band started, like we've just been like creating and creating and creating. Like we're always writing songs, and I think that is because we all write songs. It's not just like one of us. Um, so we got to a point after the second EP where we had so much material and like not enough time or like money or anything to like really like finish it in the same way that we have been doing. So we've basically got a ton of music now, and we're like rolling it out without giving too much away. We're like basically rolling all of this body of work out that's been in the works for a long time, um, all under like the same like thematic vision. And yeah, that's 2025 is the start of that. I'm trying to be very cryptic. um,
You are. I'm like, tell me more.
but yeah, like Izzy and Hell Knowing Love are like the first two tracks of this like project, and we feel like these songs that we're making now are kind of very true to what our initial vision was for the band. And it feels really rewarding at the minute, because like we're so proud of those two tracks. We're really proud of what we're working on at the minute. We feel like we've just got a lot of momentum behind everything. And it just feels like kind of like full circle for us from like where we came from at the start, and like what our vision was when we started the band. It feels like we're kind of finally like realizing that. So yeah, it's been a fun year so far.
Yeah, I mean, when I had Hannah on, she was talking about, obviously as a fellow Wigan-based artist, talking about how she kind of has a bit of a love-hate relationship with the place. Because obviously, it's in between Manchester and Liverpool, so it means you can dip into both. And you've had amazing artists that come from Wigan. But she also mentioned that it's kind of like strangely still a small town vibe. Would you guys agree? And what would you say it's like being there as a band?
It's definitely like I'd say it's quite difficult, really. I think there's kind of a stigma, and it's a double-edged sword stigma with like being a Wigan band. I think because we have like very iconic artists, you're put in a box. If someone hasn't heard your sound, but they hear that you're a Wigan band, they automatically think of like the Verve or the Lavums, um, which I don't think we really sound anything like them and like fit in that kind of box. Um, and kind of I think because the town as a whole over the past like 10 years or so has like really deteriorated, to be honest. There's not really a lot going on in the town anymore. um it does kind of feel like a small town vibe, and that's not to say like there's not stuff going on with music. There are like great bands still around. You've got like Montello that are kind of like doing waves at the minute, and you've got Stanley's and stuff. But I think like for artists like us and Hannah that kind of aren't like your bread and butter like indie rock bands, it is kind of hard to stand out because you don't really fit into the scene that's established here. um, and we don't necessarily belong fully to Manchester or Liverpool. But
Mm,
saying that, because we are like in between Manchester and Liverpool, we do reap the benefits of that too. Where like we can get like a pull for a crowd in both cities. So it is a double-edged sword. We just kind of you feel like the step brother or step sister to like Manchester or Liverpool.
mm,
You kind of like you fit, but you don't fit. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. No, I get that. I think, yeah, it's always strange, like, because I'm from the Northwest as well. I think that the music scene seems to be so dominated by Manchester and Liverpool that you almost feel like you have to go there. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but like there's not the same level of like a musical scene elsewhere in the Northwest. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'd say so. I think because those are like Manchester and Liverpool are so iconic when you got like obviously the Beatles and like Oasis and stuff like that. Um, Everyone wants to be like the next Manchester band or the next Liverpool band or
Mm,
artist. So there's a lot of competition, and that obviously creates like a buzz and a scene. Um, so yeah, those two cities are definitely like the center of the world for music up here.
yeah. And you've played awesome venues like the Deaf Institute in Manchester. So I need to ask, what is your funniest or maybe weirdest incident when playing live? Doesn't have to be there.
We've got a few, so I don't know whether someone else should like take charge because I don't. Jack knows what I want to say, but does it start with?
Oh, say it.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was rattling in my head. I was like, "What's happened?" And as soon as you mentioned that, I was like,
Right.
yes. See, every time we get asked that question, everyone just turns and like looks at me and stuff. Well, basically, we played Isle of Wight Festival in 2023, and it was like the biggest thing we'd had to date, and we were all really buzzing for it. We got there, and the weather was amazing. Like we all felt like we were at a festival, but we all like were in the like, oh shit, we're playing this festival. We're really like completely forgot. Well, I forgot about that. Hence the story. So we were playing on the Saturday night at about 8 p.m. or something like that, and Ben and Kira were doing an acoustic set. So it was up to Byram and Kira's sister Rosie to look after me, and basically I just got blind drunk just because I was just enjoying being at the Isle of Wight Festival. And then it came to our stage time, and I just like we were doing sound check, and I thought it was like really good. I was buzzing, and then these lot were just staring at me with like absolute blank expression, like what
Oh
are
no.
you doing? And then that's when it like hit me like, oh, I'm like really I can't function right now. Like, and then we were playing our set, and I was like I was just playing songs, and because I was just in this little. I was just drunk, basically. I was like, "What song are we playing? Can I actually play the drums? Like, where are we?" And then I nursed myself through the set, and I was just really gutted for everyone else because I kind of like ruined a good opportunity. But I think we had a good reception. It's a good memory. It's a good talking point to look back
Yeah.
on. And
Do you know what
thankfully,
worries? Do you know what worries me most about that is the fact that you introduce yourself as the designated driver.
yeah, that's a very good point. Don't drink and drive, kids. Like,
Don't
I
drink and drum.
don't drink and drum. That's a good one. But it was a good weekend, a good festival. But lessons were definitely learned from that, and I've not been like that ever since.
You've not.
No.
Been a good
Fair enough. Did you get a bollocking from the rest of them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Ben was like shouting at Jack, like telling him off backstage because we had like you have to get there 2 hours before your set time. So we were all like, we've got 2 hours to get Jack sober, and Ben was shouting at him. And Jack walked off and he went to his drum case and pulled out like a can of Guinness and went to
Oh
me and my
no.
sister Rosie. And then I was like, Ben's not going to be happy with you. So I went and told Ben. It was like me and Ben were a married couple. Ben went, go and have a word with him.
The excitement got too much. That's what it was. But I've learned to control that now.
It was like, to be fair, like just so it doesn't seem like it was an absolute disaster. It was a good gig, and like nobody else knew. Like
Mm.
the crowd couldn't tell. But it when we first got on stage and started the set, it was like one of those nightmares you have where you're like naked on stage, like
Yeah.
because like we obviously can't control how Jack is going to play, and we all know that Jack is absolutely bladdered. So we were just like, this could go wrong at any minute. Like this could just collapse. So it was very very stressful, but we got through it, and like it sounded fine. Like we didn't. There wasn't that much of a disaster. I'd say there was only one part in the gig, like in the set, that was noticeable, and that was when you did your drum solo. And I remember Rosie after it came to us and was like, "What did he do in that bit?" It sounded like he was just twatting shit.
Oh my god.
But other than
Also,
that,
like,
fine.
yeah. Imagine the hangover from that, like waking up the next day and being like, what did I do yesterday?
Like, I am quite sensible now, to be honest.
Bit of character assassination going on here. So one of my favorite tracks of yours is Telephone Tough Guy from your EP Robbing a Living. So in light of that, I have a scenario for each of you. So imagine I've put £1 in a telephone box, which pays for 5 minutes. I've never used a telephone box, so I don't know how much that. But let's say it's 5 minutes. If you could ring up any artist that is guaranteed to pick up to chat for 5 minutes, who would it be and why?
Dead or alive?
Well, I don't imagine they'd pick up if they were dead. So.
Yeah, you said they'd pick up. No.
So, probably alive.
Do you want to go first? Because I'm gonna have to think about that.
Yeah, mine's quite easy. My icon in life, not just music, is Lauryn Hill. I
Nice.
think she's got the best album of all time in The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and is one of the best rappers of all time. And I just love it, and I love a stance on everything, like politics and music, and being a woman of color in like a white male dominated world. So I would love to speak to her on. I would let her just speak to me. I would let her just speak to me like a preacher for 5 minutes. I wouldn't even ask a single question. I'd just let her tell me like the ways of the world.
Yeah, she's one of
That's
those people where you just want to hear a shopping list, even though
yeah,
it's like
literally.
poetry.
Honestly, yeah. And she's such a diva, but valid because you actually are the GOAT. Like, you're the best of all time, so you're allowed to be. But yeah,
Hmm. That's a great one.
This is a difficult one. Quite tropey. I don't know. I quite like the idea of Brian May.
Oh yeah.
I
Nice,
think
yeah.
guitarist wise, he's great, and he also comes from a STEM background, so I think we relate quite a bit. Because I think in his spare time, he's like an astrophysicist or something crazy like that.
Yeah, he
So,
is. He went to Imperial and everything.
right. Fair, yeah. So I feel like I can have a good chat with him. I think so.
Nice.
Oh, struggling. Do you want to pass it, Ben?
I can go. Probably Gerard Way, just because like when I was a kid, like My Chemical Romance were like my idols. And I just think because he does like a lot more than just music. Like he obviously does comic books and wrote like the Umbrella Academy and stuff like that. Um, yeah, I just think that would be like really cool. He's probably really awkward, but so am I. So it might just be 5 minutes of silence, but it'd be cool.
Why am I now finding out that he wrote The Umbrella Academy?
Yeah. Like he wrote because it was originally a comic book, so he wrote the comic book for it, and then I think he is involved with the TV series like to some capacity. I think he produced it, but he does all sorts. Yeah. He does loads of like other stuff, but yeah, he's just like really creative
Sick.
guy.
Is he also
Yeah,
Joe Rogan's cousin?
yeah, he is. Yeah, don't know. I don't know whether that's a flex, but yeah, yeah. I'll ask him how Joe's doing.
Yeah.
Well, if they were still alive, I was gonna say Freddie Mercury, but
Mm.
can't do that. But from being a drummer and someone who's still alive, I'm gonna say Ringo Starr, just because that man has managed to get to where he is today, being the most averagely average drummer in the world, like technically. Like, no, I would say that. Like you listen to the Beatles, like the drums are quite simple, but it's just because they fit into the song beautifully.
Yeah.
And that's like I'd love to know how he does that. Like basically, like because I'm not the best drummer in the world. I know that I'm not the best drummer in the world, but if you fit into a song perfectly, no matter what you're playing on the drums, then and if you're getting that right, then you're writing some of the best songs in the world. So yeah, I want I want to find out why on how he has done that for the past
Yeah.
years.
But that's so valid because there was that interview with John Lennon, right, back in the day, where he was asked, "Do you think Ringo Starr is the best drummer in the world?" And John Lennon turns around and goes, "Ringo's not even the best drummer in the Beatles."
Yeah.
But you know what? Like, he's having the last laugh. Like, he's rich, he's minted, and he's a legend. So,
And a lot of drummers think highly of him and regard him as the best, one of the, or if not the best drummer in the world. So yeah.
yeah.
One question to him would be, how has he done it, basically?
He's like a human metronome, though. Apparently, like that's why they managed to release so much music. Is because like he doesn't even need a click, and he's like bang on.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's a cool guy.
He might not look the part, but
He's a good lad.
he's a good lad.
So, what is next for you guys? Tell me about your tour, upcoming festivals, and any music that's on the way.
We've got a lot of music on the way. Can't really disclose when because we've not really not announced yet. We do have a very exciting festival announcement coming up very soon, but also cannot say what that is yet. But we've got our big headliner of the year on the 27th of June in Manchester at Yes Bar in the basement, which we're absolutely buzzing for.
That's a great
Uh,
venue.
and I'm trying to think off the top of my head, what else have we got going on? Because
Yeah, we're playing in Bristol.
Bristol.
A couple of festivals, so we've got 110 above. We've got another one that's off the top of my head that I've lost already. Yeah, that's the redacted one.
Spreadsheet. That's what it is. He knows everything.
I think we're playing. We've got a couple of shows, support shows. They've not been announced, but they're sort of down south as well. I'm going to be very vague with that. We're giving you a lot of a lot of not a lot of nothing.
I think the headlines are 27th of June, Manchester is our big headliner. We're supporting Danny Mellon in Bristol at some point in May. I can't have, end of May. All the information for all of those are like on our Instagram page or on our website. And yeah, lots of stuff coming up that we can't say yet, basically.
Exciting, although slightly disappointed you're not giving me any exclusives here. Nothing at all.
We can't we'll get in trouble if we say
Uh,
so sorry.
This week.
okay, I'll let you off.
Exclusives, unfortunately.
So finally, guys, at the end of every episode, I ask for your own underrated artist picks. So can each of you tell me one artist that you think is slept on?
Yes. I'm Barstaff. No, um, I really want to say Glossy Boy, but I know that Hannah said that, didn't she, in her last episode, or she mentioned Glossy Boy.
You can say Glossy Boy. I mean, they
Okay.
are.
I'm gonna say Glossy Boy then because we've been like massive fans of them for years.
Yeah.
The latest track, Iguana, is a tune. Just three lovely lads that make really good music. So big up Glossy Boy.
Yeah, they're fantastic. I love Glossy Boy. Good choice.
If this had come out like a month ago, I would have said Rachel Chinariri because I feel like no one was really onto her. Now she's flipping sporting Sabrina Carpenter, so everyone's onto her. But I'm gonna say Carol Aides. She's American, I think, and she's coming over to the UK for the first time. In like a couple of months, she just announced it yesterday, so I'm gassed. She's playing at the Lodge Deaf Institute where we played the other month. I'm definitely gonna try and grab a ticket. But she just writes like lesbian sad pop music, which is my bag.
Okay, great.
There's a duo. I think they're a duo. They might be a full band. Don't know. Home Counties. I think they released a debut either last year or the year before. It would have been last year actually, which I absolutely bashed and absolutely loved. It's a bit like synth poppy sort of.
Yeah, it rings a bell. I think I've heard them before. Yeah, they're great.
Bethnal Green. That kind of blasts out of my way home, and it's unreal. So that's my go-to. What about you?
I think we've all done the same thing, apart from Ben just quickly checked our Spotify playlist. But I'm going to say, and this is thanks to my girlfriend, because she was listening to a song the other day, a band called Spacey Jane, and they released a song the other day. I'd never listened to them before, and I just thought it was an absolute rammer. So yeah, I'm onto them now, listening to all of the stuff. So I don't know how big they are because I'm not really dived into it too deeply, but
Yeah, I mean, I've not heard of them, so they're slept on for me. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, guys. It was really fab to meet you all. And thank you. And good luck in the studio today. You guys off to do some work now.
We are, yeah.
Ben's gonna crack the whip.
Back to the grind.
Exciting. Well, can't wait to hear about your festival announcement and upcoming music. I'll stay tuned for that.
Yep. Everything will be announced very soon.
Fab. Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye.